11:56 p.m. Eastern Daylight Saving Time 23:56 11:50 p.m. Eastern Daylight Saving Time 23:50 Paul Karp. The coalition party room has met, minus senators who are tied up in estimates. Malcolm Turnbull spoke about the need to counter Labour lies, and played down expectations for the upcoming by-elections, by arguing that they are hard to win for governments. Foreign Minister Julie Bishop made some interesting observations about China. The relationship with China is a very important relationship and we must manage it for our mutual benefit, but we need to uphold our principles. That can lead to differences from time to time, but those differences can be overstated. It's interesting in the context of Andrew Hastie's intervention into the debate last week and shades of difference between Ministers Marise Payne and Stephen Chobo over China's activities in the South China Sea. In addition to the discussions about the National Energy Guarantee detailed below, Tony Abbott also raised Catholic school funding. Malcolm Turnbull responded that the review of the socio-economic status formula would help address that, and the school's funding package introduced in 2017 increased funding. On the neg, the Energy and Environment Minister Josh Frydenberg said that what will go to the Council of Australian Governments was consistent with what was discussed in the coalition party room, and after COG legislation would come back to the party room. Although 6 MPs spoke up about energy, Frydenberg's answer amounts to, no, there will be no relitigation of the neg before it goes to the states. 11:43 p.m. Eastern Daylight Saving Time 23:43 updated at 11:48 p.m. Eastern Daylight Saving Time 11:38 p.m. Eastern Daylight Saving Time 23:38 Melissa Davey. Before lunch, the Community Affairs Committee interrogated the government's My Health Record scheme. Earlier this month, the government revealed that from the 16th of July people will have a 3-month window to opt out of the scheme. After that period, a health record will automatically be created for all Australians. If people do not opt out, 2 years' worth of pharmaceutical benefits scheme and Medicare data will be uploaded to this system. The chief executive of the Australian Digital Health Agency, Tim Kelsey, told the committee that an advertising campaign would run in newspapers, on television and on radio alerting people to the opt-out period. If people forget to opt out, they will automatically have 2 years of data uploaded at their next medical appointment, Kelsey says. The Greens leader, Richard Di Natale, asks about what would happen if someone is taken to an emergency department and is unable to consent to this occurring. Kelsey said that at the point of the patient being discharged, a discharge sheet would be uploaded to the patient's My Health record, and this would trigger an automatic upload of 2 years' worth of data. But he tells Di Natale the patient can also retrospectively request to remove this data. The committee heard that patients will need to opt out of having their data passed on to third parties, such as pharmaceutical companies, for medical research. Updated at 11:40 p.m. Eastern Daylight Saving Time 11:26 p.m. Eastern Daylight Saving Time 23:26 updated at 11:39 p.m. Eastern Daylight Saving Time 11:20 p.m. Eastern Daylight Saving Time 23:20 updated at 11:26 p.m. Eastern Daylight Saving Time 11. That's Steve Martin, who Michael McCormick has accidentally donned with the extinct * moniker. I also anticipate that there will be respectful and healthy competition, but a very strong exchange of preferences. Abbott says. The people of Tasmania will be able to determine whether or not they prefer Liberal or National Party senators, noting that the difference is relatively small, and that is why I would anticipate those who vote one Liberal would be voting 2 National and vice versa. As for the Braden by-election, Abbott doesn't believe the sympathy vote, which was with the coalition MPs in the earlier Section 44 by-elections, will be present this time around. I think we are in with a very real fighting chance, for a number of reasons. former Labour member clung on to her seat for an extra 6 months, when people like Senator Stephen Parry and Senator Jackie Lambie accepted the High Court decision and resigned, but the Labour member, Limpet-like, kept on and drew an extra $100,000 worth of salary, in circumstances where she must have known that she was at all times disqualified, and I think therefore she won't have the sort of sympathy that John Alexander enjoyed when he had to recontest his seat. Both Parry and Lambie only resigned after the High Court decision that ruled Fiona Nash, Malcolm Roberts and Barnaby Joyce were dual citizens. Asterisk thought to be extinct updated at 10:55 p.m. Eastern Daylight Saving Time, 10:33 p.m. Eastern Daylight Saving Time, 22:33. The IPA has a solution for the super issue: just be done with compulsory superannuation. From its statement, compulsory superannuation in Australia should be abolished in favour of a voluntary scheme, said Morgan Begg, research fellow at the free market think tank the Institute of Public Affairs. The Productivity Commission's recommendations are a mixed bag that does not address the fundamental problem in the superannuation sector: over-regulation and compelled participation. A September 2016 paper for the IPA found that high taxes and transaction costs, complexity, inconsistent treatment of different assets and a bias against savings are a predominant feature of Australia's superannuation system. With employees' money locked up in superannuation for several decades, it is important that the system is transparent and empowers workers to control their own financial choices, Begg said. Instead, superannuation in Australia has become a playground for vested interests. For instance, between 2013 and 2017, trade unions directly received over $18 million from industry super funds via directors' fees. Updated at 10:39 p.m. Eastern Daylight Saving Time, 10:32 p.m. Eastern Daylight Saving Time, 22:32. Updated at 10:39 p.m. Eastern Daylight Saving Time, 10:28 p.m. Eastern Daylight Saving Time, 22:28. Updated at 10:29 p.m. Eastern Daylight Saving Time, 10:23 p.m. Eastern Daylight Saving Time, 22:23. Michael McGowan. The last hour or so of defense estimates has been taken up debating the department's $89 billion shipbuilding plan, which has been pilloried by the Auditor General. The Auditor General's office released a scathing report on the plan earlier this month. The report criticized the approval of a new fleet of patrol boats without a concrete idea of running costs, and revealed that the decision in 2016 to begin construction of new frigates forward to 2020 presented such extreme risk that cost and schedule overrun was likely, and that to proceed on the current schedule had the potential for severe. He said some parts of the audit report were out of date. 12 new submarines, 9 frigates and 2 new offshore patrol vessels are set to be constructed in Adelaide, while Perth will host the building of 10 offshore patrol boats and 19 Pacific patrol boats. Updated at 10:40 p.m. Eastern Daylight Saving Time, 10:17 p.m. Eastern Daylight Saving Time, 22:17. Updated at 10:36 p.m. Eastern Daylight Saving Time, 10:12 p.m. Eastern Daylight Saving Time, 22:12. Updated at 10:15 p.m. Eastern Daylight Saving Time, 10:04 p.m. Eastern Daylight Saving Time, 22:04.